This is Wade, and you are in Wade World. Welcome to Wade World. So, have you heard the news? The good news. There are more billionaires. The billionaires are getting richer. There's going to be a trillionaire soon. Do you feel richer? Do you feel like your life is getting easier? Your bills are getting less. Your rent is getting less. It's easier to go out and enjoy yourself. It's easier to have a family, support your wife and children. Do you feel like life is getting easier for you? No? Well, but Nvidia stock is great. Tesla stock is going up. SpaceX just got valued at $800 billion, and it's not even public yet. And I don't know about you, but all the guys in the Forbes top lists are getting really, really rich. Does that make you somewhat sad? Why? Because you believe that the world is fair? It's not. The stock market is a giant scam and a fraud. Now, can you make money from this giant scam and a fraud that has been going on for about, let's say, 450 years? Sure. But you have to understand that this is not a giant, honest system, and it's not going to survive. The crash is going to be epic, and it's going to change the way the world works. Wade is going to tell you why. So the first offerings of the stock market were usually, and of course, you have to mention Jewish people here because they are at the center of everything finance in the last 450 years. It came about as a way to raise funds for a project instead of going to the king and hoping the king has money. Now, to raise funds for the project means everybody could invest in it, right? Not really. The stock market gives the illusion that you can invest in anything you believe in, but it gatekeeps you from things that are actually valuable. So, in the first instance itself, not everybody could invest in a shipping adventure for resources in the 15th century. That's how it started in the Netherlands. It was gatekept to bankers and wealthy people. So it was a way to sidestep the authority of the monarch, who would basically go take the riches, and mostly monarchs used to redistribute them to the entire population through their lords. These people said everybody has access to it, but you didn't really have access to it because you needed to be at least X amount rich to actually invest in it, or know people who would allow you to invest in it. So it took the authority from the monarch and gave it to a bunch of private investors and bankers. These would become bankers later. Fast forward 400 years, and today here we are. You hear about, let us suppose, the latest news, SpaceX getting a valuation of $800 billion. Let us ask you, can you buy SpaceX right now? No? Why not? Oh, it's not public? Then who's buying it and who's giving these valuations? And why can't you buy it? Like when SpaceX started getting valuations, why couldn't you buy it? Why can only accredited investors buy it? Of course, they'll tell you, oh, this is to protect you. This is to protect you from losing your life savings in a risky venture. That's bullshit. Modern finance is based on the fact that most people suck at managing their own money and suck in making money. The best way that human beings learn is not by making them sheep, lying to them about protection, but by pain and suffering. This is just a fact of nature. If you have ever, as a child, been told not to touch the hot oven, but you went and touched it anyway one day, and you burnt yourself, that taught you something for the rest of your life. I don't want to touch that thing anymore, right? Because all the protection didn't help you, but that pain and suffering did. That is a feedback mechanism to keep us from being stupid. The best mechanism to protect you from making stupid decisions is to tell you, hey, this is going to be a stupid decision, and then let you handle the consequences of failure, which makes great successes, great inventors, and great leaders. But they don't do that. What they do is they gatekeep it. Oh, you're not an accredited investor. You don't have enough funds. Even if you have enough funds and you are an accredited investor, you don't know them well enough, so they're not going to let you in. all sorts of nonsense. The end result is, and you can see this compounding in any system, the people who went into the issuance of the first stock offering massively profited from it, because that was the first time ever that the wealthy had a way to sidestep the king. It's not about you. It's about sidestepping the king and making sure the king doesn't take all their profits and give it to you. It was a way to sidestep the king and then make massive profits. And if you are first, that keeps increasing, compounding, and compounding. Now you could say, well, but I can buy shares in IPO. Very true. But here's a simple thought exercise for those of you who are average or below average intelligence. Let us suppose we'll take the example of SpaceX. SpaceX right now before IPO is being valued at $421 or something. How did it get to this point? By the time it IPOs, you'll be able to buy it maybe at 420, 500, 600, 700, $800, right? So you will be able to buy it $800 for one share. But what happened to get it to $800? People who bought it when it was $1 a share. Remember, these people bought it at $1 a share and they're selling it to you like, oh, you're so lucky we are IPOing. Now you can buy it. They've already made 800 times their money or 100 times their money or 50 times their money. They're just dumping it on you. An IPO is basically, we've maxed out how much money our initial investment can make in multiples. Now it's just a gradual looting from all these sheep who we can dump on. If I invested in this stock at $1 and I was in those insider circles and I dump it on you at launch at 800, then whether it goes to 8,000 or it goes to 400, it will never beat the fact that I got it at $1 and I have made 800 times profit. You understand? If it goes to 8,000, then my profit after 800 just goes 10 times. If it goes to 400, then my profit just goes to 400 times. But I'm already 800 times in profit before it even launches. And I won't give you access. Secondly, we live in a world where the media constantly barrages you with this information. Now, you could be a good inventor, you could be a good person who could use this system to actually do good, but you have to understand by using the system, WAYDE doesn't blame anyone who wants to get wealthy with the system. It's fine. We live in a world of money, unfortunately. But there are some good people who could use this system to do good in the world. However, this system comes with strings. If you look at the background of almost every billionaire in the United States today, you will see a very similar pattern. They got invested into early by some people. They made those people rich, they got rich. Now those people are like, oh, this guy can make me rich. And they're like, oh, he can give me money. They start another stuff. They get information and investment from their old investors. Their old investors tell them, like, this guy has potential. He'll make us all rich. And all these people keep investing, becomes more valuable, start something new. Same people invest, tell more people, become more valuable. You are not the target market. The target market is, again, like in the 15th century, the people who already have assets and who want to sidestep your government, because now the king is gone, right? They want to sidestep your government from taking these amazing advances and helping them to benefit your life. When SpaceX is $1 trillion company, it's not benefiting you. When NVIDIA is $1 trillion company, your rent isn't going down. You're not getting a check from the government saying, hey, you know what? NVIDIA is not American, as an example. But you're not getting a check from the United States government saying, hey, you know what? An American made SpaceX and it's worth $1 trillion and we're putting people in space. And they used America, its people, its gifts, its land, its resources to do this. So we're going to take this company and we're going to redistribute the profits to all the people, all Americans. You're not never going to get a check from the government. I mean, the only people who did this were the National Socialists in Germany. Remember Hitler? That was the system. You're like, the king used to literally redistribute profits to the people when he became successful. Because the people would say, hey, yo, what about us, dude? Because if he didn't, he would get violently overthrown. Your governments don't. And the governments that do try, like Muammar Gaddafi's government, they're basically kicked out. They're basically kicked out to, oh, they're so evil. They're so evil. They're nationalizing these people who just want to take the money away from people, nationalizing the companies, keeping those people. In Germany, they used to keep you there. If you were gifted, they would make you the minister of SpaceX and keep you there. You're in charge, keep doing what you're doing, but you're not going to hoard the money. And they used to redistribute it. And Germany was destroyed. So, number one, you are not the investor, you are the exit liquidity. That means maybe you invest and you make 10 times your money. That's fine. But that only depends on how high they're going to take it. Tesla is a perfect example, and Tesla has done some great stuff in advancing electric engines. But we're just taking the example. We could take the example of NVIDIA, we could take the example of Ford, we could take the example of Microsoft, Apple, IBM, whatever. You can pick anyone. But most of you are young, so you understand Tesla, right? It keeps going up and down and up and down and up and down. Now, most people have bills. Most people are not long-term investors. And long-term investors, they also get scraps from the table. Secondly, because it locks you out, takes the funds away from you without making your life better, it also puts pressure on you. You can't be a long-term investor if you have to eat, if you have bills to pay, if your salary keeps being the same, but the prices of everything keep going up because your money is becoming weaker, right? So it's looting you. Thirdly, all of this growth that you are seeing is just making it more of a polarity between the people who have less and the people who have everything. Middle class is being destroyed by design. There is a reason the monarchs, the kings, used to redistribute wealth to the people, because if they don't, it accumulates at the top. And when too much wealth accumulates at the top, whether it's democracy, regressive democracy, or monarchy, or dictatorship, or whatever, when too much wealth accumulates at the top, you will have too many people unhappy. And that is rife for violence, political violence, and revolution, whether manipulated by an outside party, whether within the people, within their own society, from within, right? So you are basically cut off from investing for your own safety. The people who are investing get there early, and they keep investing into each other's companies. And thirdly, because money talks and bullshit walks, a lot of media companies are complicit in this. For example, no one will actually be able to tell you why some companies are valued at billions. Theranos was a company by Elizabeth Holmes that was valued at $9 billion. Everybody took it at face value. It's a $9 billion company because Forbes told me, because the Wall Street Journal told me, because the media told me. There are people on the media that are hired and paid big money just to tell you, like, trust the system, bro, buy this, it's great. Why don't you believe, and why do you believe that this person is not really worth $9 billion? Sam Bankman-Fried, he was Jewish. He ran a massive scam exchange. He is the youngest billionaire worth 20, 40 billion dollars. He's a genius. He is in jail. Turned out he's not a genius. He was just taking the money and buying homes for his parents and himself. Now he's in jail for the rest of his life, right? These people control the media, and by the media, they control their perception. So they keep telling you, hey, trust me, bro, this company is worth this much. Whether that company is worth this much has nothing to do with what they tell you. They want you to believe because, again, it is a scam. It is a fraud. If I told you that the gold coin that WAYDE is holding, if they told you that the gold coin that WAYDE is holding is worth $1,000, you'd be like, maybe. But if WAYDE told you that the gold coin WAYDE is holding is $1,000, then Forbes told you, yes, the gold coin that WAYDE is holding is worth $1,000. Wall Street Journal told you, yes, it's worth $1,000. MSNBC told you, CNN told you, Fox News told you. A big investor like Warren Buffett said, like, yes, that gold coin is worth $1,000. You'd be like, damn, man, that gold coin is worth $1,000. Do you understand? The perception changes the reality. The reality is that the gold coin that WAYDE is talking about is worth $50. It's a tiny gold coin, tiny. But you think it's worth 1,000. And these people can keep bidding up the price. They could be like, somebody bought a piece of that gold coin for $20,000. Now that gold coin is worth $1 million. Like, wow, maybe I could get into a piece. No, 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 you're not accredited. You have to wait your time, peasant. And then 10 years later, all right, now you can buy a tiny piece of this gold coin, but this gold coin is worth $100 billion. You're like, oh damn man, let me get in on this. Let me get in on this action. Right? Let me get in on this action, man. This gold coin was worth $50. And media has bullshitted you into believing it's worth $100 billion. And it's not really benefiting your life. The stock market right now is basically you going to the casino that looks very professional, has suits and has nice systems, and gambling. Fourthly, let us suppose there are stock markets around the world and there are some genuine projects that have genuine application and can be genuinely useful. So we're already past the point of these people letting beneficial advantages and advances for mankind be given back to mankind. We're already past that. So you're out of the picture already. You're not never going to benefit from the billions and trillions these billionaires are making, right? You're not going to benefit from it. And they're going to kill anybody who tries to help you. So let's suppose something is happening in Japan. So let's suppose something is happening in Indonesia. Let's suppose something is happening in Malawi, or something is happening in Papua New Guinea, whatever. And you're like, I would like to invest in it. Well, here's another problem. You are not allowed by your government to invest in the scams of other governments, and those governments don't allow you to invest in their scams. You see, the governments and the high level people can invest transnationally, but you can't. So even if you love a project in some other country, and that project might actually allow you to get in early and really make life changing money, you won't be legally allowed to do it. You'll be put in jail. Now, at that point, you might be asking yourself, why is the government trying to put me in jail for making my life better, for trying to be wealthy, to trying to get money, trying to be rich? Doesn't the government care about me? No, they don't. No, they don't. They're like goblins. These merchants, we're living in a merchant world, right? These merchants are like goblins, right? They see other goblins, they puff up other goblins and tell you, oh, this goblin is an elf. It's an angel. This orc is an angel. Trust me, bro. Look at the valuation I gave him. They sprinkle a few human beings in there who are also surrounded by goblins, and they're like, look, we also gave this human being a lot of money. Trust me, bro. The system works. And then at the end, what turns out to be the reality is you are the exit liquidity. You come in way too late in the game. They dump your stock, take your money, you panic sell when the stock goes down, then they buy it all, then they pump it, then you give them more money, and then they take the money that you're giving them and dump it again. So you're basically gambling in a fraudulent fixed system. You're never going to get in really, really early on into most of these things. And there are systems to prevent you from getting in there. Now, what could be the solution to this? The solution to this could be a global system where these people just have no way to control you or stop you from investing in things that you believe in. However, as we can see with modern technologies such as decentralized finance, scamming and fraudulently taking money is in the nature of people. So a lot of people will come up with a lot of projects that will immediately, in a much shorter timeline, right? Remember, you couldn't get into this project that waited 2,000 times to scam you. So these guys in the stock market are more patient. They 1,000 times a project before they dump it on you to scam you, right? The scammers in the modern world are not as intelligent. They immediately pump the project up, you buy it, and bam, they drop it, dump it down, and they scam you. But again, what this does give you is a learning opportunity. This does give you the knowledge and the peace of knowing whether you can or whether you cannot manage this system. And at the end of the day, that is the thing that a lot of the financial system that is centralized and legacy keeps you from understanding. Most people do not care or do not want to undergo this much stress to become wealthy. Most people care about having a peaceful life, a nice family, a loving household with parents, their wife, their children, and a good life for their family. As long as they can make enough money, they're happy with it. But the way this system works and the way it has been set up is literally to subvert your way of life and make you poorer, poorer, and poorer. Remember the king who only used to put income tax when he used to go to war? And if he did win the war, he would come back and the wealth would also be redistributed to the people. Now the kings have been killed. Now these people, firstly, amassed wealth by sidestepping the king by saying, it's all right if the king doesn't have money, we'll give him the money. But you can't because you're a peasant. Now that they've killed and eliminated the kings, or basically made them powerless, the kings are basically like puppets who put on a nice show and they're like, I'm the king of Norway. You have no power, dude. You're the king of nothing. You're the king of jack shit. Right? So now that these people have eliminated the king, there's nobody to stop them. And they don't redistribute the wealth. They print the wealth. They tax your income every single day of your life. Income tax used to be only for short times of war. Now, income tax is a fact of life. The moment you start earning, they take money from you. They devalue your currency, they tax you all the time, and they don't let you into the schemes that will make you rich. And when you do get let in, they dump on you. They're smarter scammers. So, what is the solution to this? The solution to this is a decentralized system that allows everybody from around the world to invest in things they truly believe. And again, a lot of these systems are going to, you'll see lawsuits, jail time, straight up attacks, because this is putting the power of making the money back into the hands of the people. Remember the king? He could only impose income tax during times of war. That allowed people to amass wealth during times of peace, and nobody was taking any of that wealth away from them. So they could decide what to do with it. And most people are not investors. Most people just want enough wealth to live a peaceful life, like Wade said, with family. So this system is taking power away from these people who have been running a giant scam, a Ponzi scheme of fraud with central banking and the stock market for 450 years. So you will see a lot of fight against it. Secondly, it also teaches people very quickly greed is a vice. Don't be greedy, because when you are greedy, you will lose. And not only will you lose, your family will lose. That is something that builds character. That is something that makes more masculine men and more circumspect people. So they won't let you do that. Thirdly, they keep bombarding you with news. Mark Zuckerberg, $200 billion. Jeff Bezos, $200 billion. Larry Ellison, $200 billion. Bunch of Jews, hundreds of billions of dollars. Bunch of other people, hundreds of billions of dollars. How does that make your life better? It doesn't. Because all you see is people hoarding wealth. And these people, most of the time, they want to tell you how to live your life, how to think. They want to micromanage your life. They don't want you to have children or a family. They just want you to basically go to work like a little slave, give them your money, and the rest of the money that you have, invest in their gamble so they can dump on you and then die in misery. So the stock market, from its inception, has been a huge fraud and a scam. It's been a very long running scam, as central banking and stock markets usually are. They run for centuries, and before they collapse inevitably, and monarchs come and take the place of the people, and they, of course, defeat the people who ran these things. But we are living in the end zone of these power structures because such a huge disparity, whether it is a bad king, which is always the bad bankers or the bad stock market fraudsters, they lead to a point where tensions get so high that people are like, all right, we're done, we're enough. For example, all these people telling you, we'll go to the basic latest example, all these people telling you that SpaceX is worth $800 billion, right? Has anybody invested $800 billion in SpaceX? No. Who is giving SpaceX money? The government. What allows the government to give SpaceX money to make it value itself so high? The central banking system. What does the central banking system depend on? Infinite debt. Who repays the infinite debt? Your taxes. If the people become so miserable that they say, all right, we're going to stop paying taxes and we got nothing to do with your stock market scams, then even a competent company like SpaceX, it is a competent company that does a lot of good. But we're talking about the fraudulent valuation, right? Even a competent company like SpaceX would collapse overnight because it's literally valued by devaluing money, fake currency, forcibly taking money by imposing taxes on people, and giving false valuations based on a certain percentage. You right now, because we live in this brand new world, you right now, without taking permission from anybody, could go on a blockchain like Solana and make up a meme coin called $1 trillion meme coin. You could make the supply $1 trillion and buy one coin for $1. Congratulations. Your meme coin is now worth $1 trillion and you are worth $1 trillion. You're the richest person, richest man in the world. Understand? So this scam is just a lot more people involved in it, a lot more media telling you that this is worth $1 trillion, and the government spending your money, which they force you to give to them, and they keep increasing the taxes and making you poorer to make these other people richer. The only difference between you being a trillionaire and these people valuing the company $1 trillion is you could maybe post online like, hey, I'm a trillionaire, look at my coin, I have $1 trillion of my coin is worth $1 because I bought $1. My friend also bought my coin for $1. My third friend bought my coin for $2. Now I'm worth $2 trillion, and people will be like, oh. But these companies have posts, media, TV, internet, videos, everybody trying to convince you, trust me, bro, it's worth $1 trillion because look, all these wealthy people bought the coin, the stock, and the government is investing in it. The government never asked you if you want to invest in it. The government basically takes the money from your income taxes, prints money to pay off the interest on the money it printed, and makes the government makes these people richer, and you get jack shit. Like a lot of the government contracts that SpaceX, for example, has, it's literally the government printing money, the government issuing debt, the central bankers printing money to buy that debt. The central bankers tell the government, all right, I'm going to buy your debt, so you better repay it by taxing those people who are working. The central bankers and the government invest in these firms or give money to these firms. The firm owners become rich. The central bankers become rich. The government gets it kicked back, and you get jack shit. You actually get more money taken out from you without ever having any benefit. Without ever, like, how many billions of dollars of contracts, for example? And SpaceX is a good company, but we're just going to keep on it because it's hilarious, the valuations. How many billions of dollars has the government given to SpaceX? Understand that every single cent of that dollar came from your taxes. So if the government so far has given SpaceX $350 billion and there are 350 million Americans, ideally, who are all paying taxes, then that means that each of you has basically given $1,000 to SpaceX before it went public. Right now, if the world you were living in was fair and if the stock market wasn't a fraud, your $1,000 that you gave to SpaceX at an $800 billion valuation would make each of you ridiculously wealthy. Ridiculously wealthy. You would all be millionaires, $1 million each, $2 million each, easy. But are you? Oh, you're not? Who's millionaires and billionaires? Oh, the guys who are investing in the company? Aha. And you're not allowed to invest? Huh. But your tax dollars were taken by the government and given to this company, which used that to make itself appear to be $1 trillion company. So how come you don't get any benefit from it? Once you put it in this kind of a situation, you do understand who is really the engine behind the wealth, right? It doesn't mean that the owners of SpaceX are billionaires, because if you're worth $1 million each, the only thing left for all of the people, the other people who actually put money in there directly, is maybe $50 billion. That means instead of having $400 billion worth of SpaceX, these people own $4 billion, like 100 times less, maybe 1,000 times less. But you are never going to be told that. You are going to be told, we took money from your paycheck to make these companies get $1 trillion valuation, and they also know what's up. They know what's up. They go to their friends, the friends invest, the friends go to the media tells you it's $1 trillion company, then they go to their friends in the banks. Investment banks are like, yeah, we agree, it's $1 trillion company. This is all it's a big club. You ain't in it. But they definitely live off you. This big club leeches off you like a parasite. You're not in it, but it's on top of you like some goblin orc parasite, sucking your blood. And then they go public. So not only are they taking your money from your paycheck to become wealthier, after looting you from your taxes to become wealthier and not giving you jack shit, they let you enter after they've already made 800 to 1,000 times their investment already. And whatever 10 times increase you see is nothing to them. They're like, yeah, who cares? Who cares about these stupid peasants? And that's only if one of the less stupid peasants who, after being looted their whole life, has enough money to invest in it. Again, this is not an attack on SpaceX. I think they're doing great work. But this is just an honest explanation of the gigantic fraud that is the stock market that has been imposed on this world for 450 years. The gigantic fraud that is the valuations. Theranos was valued at $9 billion. Turned out it's full of shit and they had nothing. Now it's $0. Bernie Madoff, another Jewish dude, ran a Ponzi scheme. He was worth billions, $50 billion. $0 today. Sam Bankman-Fried, another Jew, ran an exchange worth $48 billion. $0 today. Reality is warped by these people to make you believe in things that aren't really real. And these things exist because they have instituted a system where they are taking your money and making themselves richer. And not content with that, they are fooling you into giving them more of your money. You are not a human being. You are basically a slave whose labor converted to money is what they care about. That is why they don't care about replacing you. Because the more of you who understand this, the faster the system dies. And anybody who tries to break the system, for example, in recent terms, a lot of people talk about Muammar Gaddafi. Russell Crowe talked about it. Muammar Gaddafi gave his country free education, free healthcare, massively subsidized loans for newlyweds so they could buy a house easily, tax breaks if the newlyweds had more than 3 children, maybe more than 4 children, no taxes for life. And he kept a lot of sub-Saharan Africa from coming into Europe. And he was killed for that. He was killed for that because he actually wanted to repay the people from all the benefits Libya was getting. And the people itself were manipulated into killing him. So it's not like you guys are also angels, but you have to understand this message is only applicable to some few intelligent percentage of the population. But here's the good thing. You don't need 100% of the population to change the system. You don't even need 50 or 40 or 20. You just need 10% of the men to take a stand and say, this is BS, this is unfair, this is utterly selfish. Wealth is being taken from us, and then we are being told to be thankful after being looted and stolen from. Literally, someone puts a gun to your head. That's what the tax collectors are basically hated throughout history, because they forced you to give them stuff that you earned from your blood and sweat and without justification, right? So if somebody putting a gun to your head, robbing you first, then becoming wealthy, super mega rich, and coming to you and say, yeah, so I became wealthy by robbing you, but here's an opportunity. Now that I've made 1,000 times return on the money I took from you, How about you make 4 or 5 times the money that you have left? Oh, you're still poor, you can't afford it. Pff, I'll go to the next one. This is the stock market. That's how it ties in with the central banking scam and the tax scam, income tax scam. So until next time, take all these valuations with a gigantic pinch of salt because remember, you are paying the money that is making these people billionaires. They're not truly billionaires, but you definitely should be a millionaire. But you're not being made a millionaire. So you need to keep it cool, keep it smart, and get ready for some fun times that are coming up. And enjoy.